What is up, everyone, and welcome back to another stream. I hope you are all well. Good to see you back. Nice. I hope you've had a nice international break. We will, of course, get in to discuss all of your teams, all of your questions, everything like that. But good to be back. I hope you are all well. Say hello in the comments if you are new, if you are not new, what you've been up to over the international break, but most importantly, how you have enjoyed the international break, or whether you are ready and raring to go for FPL to be back. I am ready for it. It's been a nice time off, but very nice to have it back, of course. Slightly different background. If anyone has watched any of my videos this week, you may have noticed that the background on my videos has changed. Just rejigged my setup a little bit. Planning, it's now in a position where I can have a green screen behind me if that's what I wanted to go to. Before, it was practically impossible. So at the moment, you've got a nice patterned curtain, but we can see what it is. We've got a few things to discuss tonight, a few little announcements as well, a few exciting things to talk through at some point, but we'll get into answering a few of the FPL questions first. And all the good stuff that you are all here for. So let's just blow that up a little bit more for you. There you go. That's how you want to see it, isn't it? No problem. So let's get in and say hello to everyone who is in the chat at the moment. This is how my team is lining up at the moment. So as you can see, a few injuries that I'm sure everyone is here to talk about. We've got Rafinha flagged. We've been tracking his flight all day. If anyone hasn't seen that on Twitter, there have been people tracking where his plane's been, everything like that, to see if he's going to be available for this week, whether he's going to be back in time. I've got Rudiger red flagged, as I'm sure a lot of you do. I've got Ayling red flagged, still in my team. I've got Dennis, who we don't know quite what's going to happen with Watford. Then I've got the rest of my team looking okay. Greenwood I don't particularly love anymore, but that Leicester team look like they're conceding chances for fun still. So he's in there. Sarr still in there, partly because I don't have anyone else to play. Ben Rama in there as well. I have one free transfer, which I haven't made, but considering specific moves, but we'll go into it. So how are all you guys doing? So who have we got in this evening? Hawkey Boy, El Nico, Shiraz, Sithi, Shiraz again, Hosper, Syed, Ahmed, Adele, Hitoka saying hi Harry, how are you guys doing? Nice to see you all in there. Daniel Banks, how are we doing? Are you going to Fest in January? Let me know. Nice to see you again. I know I didn't manage to stick around for much of a chat last time, but it'd be nice to have a beer again. Adele, Felix, Dinesh, John, welcome everyone. Nice to see so many of you in here. Mark, how are we doing? John, you are new. Well, nice to see you in. I appreciate every subscriber, however new and old. Shirfi, welcome. We are back. It's good to have the football back. It's good to have a game week that we can come on and discuss. Dylan, Teddy, welcome everyone, all the usuals. Michael, it's Benji. Again, good evening everyone. Good evening to you all. Michael, I know you've asked this question. Simply FPL coming in and ruining my little surprise announcement. We'll go to that first and then we will answer Michael's question. So for anyone who has, basically there are for members only, a nice group of emojis for all members to use, as well as having a little badge with my logo, which I've updated and corrected for you all, as well as having all your comments answered in chat. If you do wish to join as a member for just $1.99 a month, you'll get these emojis, you'll get that little badge, and you'll get, of course, all your questions answered live in the stream. So those are the 5 at the moment. We can think about adding some more in. Green arrow, red arrows. You've got N'Golo Kante on his little bicycle. Son and Salah are the ones at the moment. I'm, of course, happy to take suggestions on what emojis members would like. If there's specific things that you members would be interested in having. I thought the green and the red arrow, of course, would be the one that had to be in there, and then I went with a few players, and of course Kante on a little bicycle had to be one in there as well. So if any of you guys do want to join as a member, there's a link which would be just below the stream. But we'll go back to Michael's question: Son and Hwang or Mahrez and Tony? I'd go Son and Hwang. I'm a big advocate of Son at the moment. I do think going for a Brentford option in either Ivan Toney or Mbuemo in the coming weeks is definitely something that's worth considering doing. It's just, I would back that option over the Mahrez option, because once Jesus is back, I wouldn't want Mahrez in my team. And the other, you then have Tony playing against Chelsea this week, so I wouldn't particularly want that this week. So I'd go with Son and Hwang, but I would also look at how you could potentially get a route to get one of those Brentford options into your team. On wildcard this week, could make a case for Trossard away to Norwich as a 1 week punt. So something I've seen a lot is people taking 1 week punts when they're on their wildcard. The issue is, because before wildcard it's fine to take punts, and at the start of the season, now you don't have a safety net of your wildcard until game week 30. Because that's when we're really going to need our second wildcard. You don't really want to be booking in your transfer using it 1 week afterwards. When you play your wildcard, you need to be rolling your first transfer, having 2 free transfers. If you wanted to go for a punt, I'd go Adam Armstrong, so you can roll your transfer after 1 week and then sell him. I wouldn't be going for any Brighton players as a punt. Also because Brighton are not gonna go score 3-4 goals against a team. The explosive nature of that 1 week punt is just not there for me. So I wouldn't be going to Brighton for a 1 week punt. With Silva and Rudiger out, is Chalobah a good pick? How many games do you think will start? So Thiago Silva will be back for Champions League midweek. He'll be back for game week 9. Rudiger, I expect to be similar. I don't expect him to be out for very long. I wouldn't go and buy Chalobah into your team. He's fine. He might be good. Well, he might play this week. I don't particularly back Chelsea defenders this week. With all those injuries, with the way Brentford have looked, I don't particularly love the the Chelsea defensive options this week. So I don't have Rudiger this week, but I really think Brentford will score. Would I start Rafinha or Livramento? So I'd start Rafinha, because if Rafinha gets minutes, I'd rather Rafinha. But if Rafinha doesn't play, then having a Southampton defensive option is there. But if Rafinha plays, then you want Rafinha playing. So I would start him. Thoughts on Hwang on a wildcard? So if you haven't seen my wildcard video from, I think it was Tuesday this week, make sure you go and check that out. Basically, I do really like him as an option. Definitely a player that I would consider on my wildcard. He was in the draft that I put out. That draft is very close to what I would wildcard to, if not the same team. So I would be having him in. I think he's a really nice option. Thoughts on Saka in for Benrahma and Hwang in for Dennis? Saka in for Benrahma and Hwang in for Dennis for a -4. I wouldn't be doing Saka in for Benrahma for a hit. I don't know if you need the money, but if you can just do Dennis to Hwang for free, I'd probably just go and do that. I'd probably just do the one move, to be honest. Yeah. Rudiger, Jota, Ronaldo to Livramento, Son, Lukaku for a -8. First hit of the season on wildcard used early. I don't like selling Rudiger for Livramento. I don't particularly like that. Although I like the other 2 moves. Is it worth a -8? Do you have any other Chelsea defenders? Because next week, Chelsea have Norwich at home. And if Chelsea have Norwich at home and you're going into that game with no Chelsea defenders, it just seems a bit counterintuitive to do those hits this week to try and gain lots of ground. But then next week, you'll be looking at your team thinking, I need a Chelsea defender in there. So again, I'd probably just think about that. Would I swap Rudiger for James on a wildcard? If I was on a wildcard now, I'd own Azpilicueta as my Chelsea option. But I'd probably start Tony over a Chelsea defender this week if you've got the options to do those. I'd start Chelsea. I'd start Mbuemo or Tony over a Chelsea defender. Harry, I do need the money for Hwang. That's why I'm taking a hit. Thoughts? James. Sorry. Syed. Saka in for Benrahma. Then yeah, I probably would do it. Especially if you need both to start this week, then I would do it. I would do that. How long is Rudiger out for? So we don't know. He didn't mention his press conference today any length of injury, any length of time out. So yeah, unfortunately we don't know. I don't think it'll be that long. He's just got a back problem, but I think keep him out game week 8, game week 9 at home to Norwich. I hope he's back for, but I don't have anything more unfortunately to go on that. We will be seeing this man back though. Oh, that was a... Oh, it doesn't show up on the little chat there. Any news on how... So, keep Rudiger and play Duffy? Yeah, I would do that. Duffy has Norwich. I'd want to play Duffy anyway, so... No other Chelsea defenders. Fair enough. Consider that. Yeah, Azpilicueta is probably the one I'd go with. Do you think it's worth using a transfer on Rudiger this week for James / other Chelsea defenders? No, I would. I'd just bench Rudiger this week. Hi Nick, how are we doing? Thank you everyone for joining. If we could just like the stream while we are watching, that would be very much appreciated. If I had Aspi plus Mbuemo and Tony, who would I start? If I could only start one, Aspi I wouldn't start. I wouldn't be starting. If I had a choice between Tony and a Chelsea defender this week, I'd start Tony. People think I'm being pessimistic, but I would start my Brentford attacker before I started a Chelsea defender. It's just my opinion. Is it okay if I went with Robertson instead of Trent? No, it's not. If I was gonna not get Trent, I'd potentially go Matip. I don't think Robertson's attacking threat is worth it. I would go Matip if you really wanted Liverpool cover, but I wouldn't do that. I'd go double Man City defence then. So, Foden or Grealish? My worry is Foden doesn't start this week. He's played a lot of minutes over the international break. I'd probably go... If I had to pick, I'd still probably go Foden, but my worry is he doesn't start this week. Rudiger to Chilwell. I wouldn't be selling Rudiger if you have him. If you've got anyone that you can bring off your bench, I'd just do that. Is this my game week team? And if so, any reasons I haven't made my transfer yet. I don't think Saka in will be my transfer now. Now looking at it, I think I need to basically get to a point where I can strengthen depth, because at the moment, in theory, I'm starting Dennis. And if it gets to the point where Rafinha doesn't play, then I'm just having to play Dennis, even if I do Sarr to Saka. So I think I'm going to have to replace Dennis, and I think Hwang Hee-chan will be my replacement. He'll come in for him. Rafinha, if he doesn't play, great. I'll probably end up benching Sarr and playing Hwang Hee-chan is probably the way I'll go. Although I do fancy Sarr and Watford a little bit at home without Fabinho, without Alisson there. There's a little bit of me that thinks Watford will score. And then will Sarr be involved? We'll see, but I don't quite know. But I'm pretty sure that Dennis to Hwang Hee-chan will be my transfer this week. I could do Ayling to Livramento, but I want to stretch my options in attack by adding that extra player, because Dennis isn't it anymore. So that's the plan anyway. That is the plan. Choosing Saka over Foden because I would, if I own a wild card, I personally wouldn't own Foden. You got Diaz and Cancelo from City. You enough involved with Pep Roulette. Yeah, they're probably two of the least involved players in Pep Roulette, aren't they? But definitely would be the two that I would go with. Walker or Laporte? I feel like I've spoken loads about this this week. City defence, Chelsea defence, it's been everything. Walker or Laporte? I personally think Laporte would be the one that I would go with. I still think he's first choice in that team. Even though Stones is back from injury, I would be going Laporte if I could. Personally, is the option I would go with. But on wildcard, should I be... If you're on a wildcard, I'd get Azpilicueta now. Because we don't know. If he was going to be out for a week, I might just say, if you're on a wildcard, hold Rudiger. But I would just go and get Azpilicueta now. Double up on Mbeumo and Tony too much. I mean, this week it is against Chelsea, but I wouldn't want that necessarily this week. But from next week, when they've got a really nice run of fixtures, I'm definitely getting Mbeumo in next week. Greenwood to Mbeumo is practically locked in for me next week. I'd be surprised if that's not the transfer that I make. Greenwood then has Liverpool, Sancho, Rashford are all back. The whole squad's back fit. His minutes will get reduced now with Champions League and everything like that as well. They got Liverpool, then they got Spurs away, I think. It's a tough run of fixtures for Greenwood. And then Mbeumo starts this really nice run. It frees up a lot of money as well. It will help me get Son in for that Game Week 12 run. So I think Greenwood down to Mbeumo, then Benrahma and Sarr to Son, and a cheap option will probably be the way that I go over the next couple of weeks. I'll show you my transfer plan for the next few weeks. Cool. It's going to be a lot. My midfield needs sorting. Then I know I want Son. I can't quite get him as early as I want, but I do want Son in my team. Then Mbeumo in here for their really nice run. And then it leaves me... What does it leave me? Not very much. I'll probably end up getting Brownhill. I might go slightly more and get Douglas Luiz or something. But that doesn't leave me very much in the bank, actually. Interesting. I might have to watch when I do these transfers because there will be price rises for them. Let me just hide this. And I will get up the price rises while I answer some... more questions. So, Foden or Grealish or Jota or Mount? I wouldn't be owning Jota for sure. I don't love all of those options. I'd probably go Foden out of that lot, but Mount's not a bad shout as well. It's just pulling it up. Don't know why it's taking so long, but here we go. Price change predictor. So Greenwood, Marçal, Livramento. Who to play out of the two? So Greenwood definitely, and I'd probably play Livramento out of the other two. I'd expect Aston Villa to score. So Foden, Saka, Livramento, Diaz, Janssen, Jimenez, Cancelo all rising tonight. That's fine. I wonder if I'm going to get priced out of these moves. Anyone dropping? This is my problem. It's going to be players dropping. So no one that I want to bring in theory, is rising. No one. Can I go on my squad? Cancelo rising. Rudiger potentially dropping is fine. I'm not selling him. So I should be all right for this next couple of weeks with those transfers. But that's the plan on what I want to get my team will be like. Ben White versus Tierney. If you can afford Tierney, great. But their fixtures over the next few are not that great. So I probably wouldn't spend the money. I'd just go Ben White. It helps to strengthen your bench, to be honest. What to do with Rudiger? You could bench for Livramento or go City defender. You've got Diaz, did wildcard last game week. I'd probably just bench him if you can. If you have anyone that is able to come off your bench, I would probably do it. I'd just bench him. Will Rudiger start next week or should I sell him? We have Alonso and Shaw too. I'd go selling those two before I sold I'd sell Alonso and Shaw before I sold Rudiger. I'd use my transfers elsewhere. I'd use it on Alonso or Shaw. Get Man City defenders in for them. Thoughts on Jimenez, Hwang double up? Their fixtures are okay. I don't love them enough to go doubling up on it, if I'm honest. Villa away, Leeds away, Everton at home, Palace away. Like 3 out of 4 being away is not ideal. I probably wouldn't go doubling up on them at the moment. Tony or Hwang? Well, Tony is better, but it's a lot more expensive. But I really like Tony. I'd go with him out of the two for sure. If it's just straight A versus B. Yeah. Why do people love Jota so much? Asked Kenston. He's either it or terrible. Yeah, I understand. I understand why if you watch them, he has the potential to score loads of points and loads of goals. He just hasn't capitalised on it. And now their fixtures are not that great. Firmino's back. It would be a bit of a worry. I've never had him this season, which has been good some weeks and bad some other weeks. But yeah, Shaw and Ronaldo to Lukaku, Cancelo with 2 transfers, or Shaw to Christensen. Shaw, Ronaldo to Lukaku and Cancelo. I'd probably do the 2 transfers because you're much better off getting Cancelo in than you are getting Christensen in. So although this week you may not end up as high, you're best off with those moves over 2 weeks. Play Rafinha or Benrahma? I play Benrahma out of the 2 of them, I think. Try less. Thank you guys for joining. Appreciate it. As before, we are on 28 likes. If we can try and bump that up to 50, that would be much appreciated. Let me just... Yeah, just need 22 likes. Don't leave it to someone else. It's completely free and it helps the channel quite a lot. Chile or Reese? Just go City defenders. Go buy Cancelo. Go buy Diaz. Go buy Laporte. I'd do that before I bought any of those Chelsea options, if I'm completely honest. Rudiger bench. Back 3, Trent, Duffy, Semedo or Livramento. I'd probably start Semedo. I think there's a high... I don't love either of them, to be honest. I'd probably start Semedo out of the 2. I think he's got more attacking threat than... A lot of people are asking Marçal versus Wolves defence versus Leeds defence. It's so close. I don't think there'll be a clean sheet either way. If Rafinha was not going to play, and I knew that, I'd probably say Livramento. But if both are going to play... I mean, it's so close. I'd probably go Southampton. I'll probably go Livramento. They've looked better. They can't score goals, so they have to defend well. Let me try and type this. Tony or Hwang, considering if you're going to get Mbeumo next week, I still probably go Tony if you can. I still back him over Hwang this week. If I could afford him, I wouldn't go. If I could afford anyone else, I probably wouldn't go to Hwang. I'm slightly nervous by it, but with a wild card, it's alright. I can take these punts and things. Playing for no Liverpool clean sheet as you don't have Trent and you'll have Sarr playing if Rafinha doesn't play. Yeah, so I'm in a well, I've got Trent, so I do see Watford scoring. I do think they'll score tomorrow, but maybe it's just me. Raya, Sanchez, Ramsdale, or Gaeta. If you're on a wild card, depends who you've got in your defence. Like Sanchez and Ramsdale, if you've got Duffy, if you've got White, then not those goalkeepers, then I'd go Raya. But if you don't have an Arsenal defender, then I'd go Ramsdale. If you don't have a Brighton defender, I'd probably go Sanchez. If not, then I would go for Raya. Akana, thank you and welcome. Bomber, welcome. Thank you for joining. You have CR7. Can I stick with him for this week and get... Yeah, I don't think... Ronaldo to Lukaku is a very luxury transfer this game week. I wouldn't necessarily go and make that transfer this week. I don't think it's necessarily worth it. So, yeah, I probably wouldn't do it this week. Should you get Trent ASAP or try and get Son for the long haul? I would still probably go and get Trent. I still think not having it. It's 9:30. It's 11:15 here. I'm watching Harry's live. FPL things. Appreciate it. Hope you are enjoying. Any questions? As a Leicester fan, are there any Leicester assets you're looking at? No. Chris Reed, thank you for subscribing. Appreciate it. Not particularly. If Iheanacho gets a run in the teams, I will of course try him, but try less. Thank you and welcome. So apart from those two, and apart from Iheanacho, not really. Vardy's a little one. He's a bit more expensive, so it's quite hard to shoehorn him into my team at the moment. But I do like his output. He's looked pretty good in terms of his goal scoring. But you're thinking of replacing Alonso for Trent. Yeah, if you have Alonso, sell Alonso and buy Trent is definitely a good transfer. Ramsdale or Sanchez or Raya for the long run. Again, it depends what you have in defence. I wouldn't want to double up on any of those defences. So if you've got Duffy or you've got White, then I would go for someone different. But if I had none of them, I'd probably rank it Ramsdale, Sanchez, Raya. But it's so little in between them. I do fancy Raya as a potential differential, but I know someone. So we know Rafinha's been tracking Rafinha's plane on Twitter. So we know that his plane landed in the UK. It landed in London. It's then a 2-hour drive, or he'll get on another flight to Southampton probably tonight, because I imagine the squad's there tonight. It's just in theory. In theory, it's enough. It's fine for him getting there, and then he'll have tomorrow morning, to get with the squad. It's just whether he's recovered enough from Friday night, which is the big doubt. Have I bought Hwang Hee-chan yet? No. So in theory, I haven't made my transfer. This is what my team's looking like at the moment. But looking at it, Dennis to Hwang Hee-chan just looks like the obvious move. Just looks like the best way to go with the squad. If anyone's got any other suggestions on what to do with this, the other one I've seen mentioned is Ayling to Livramento, which is fine. I just want to strengthen that attack. If I go Ayling to Livramento, I feel like I'm playing 4 at the back every week now, which I don't particularly want. I'd rather go Dennis to Hwang, I think. Yeah, let's just hope that Are you guys starting Rafinha? Have you got... Let me do a poll on Rafinha. Own and benching. Own and starting. I just asked a poll that didn't manage to put all the options, so I will delete that once it appears up. But no, we don't want that. Let me end poll. Let me start that again. Anyway, have you wildcarded yet? No, so I still have my wildcard in the back pocket. I don't plan on using it until about game week 14. There's another fixture swing, so I'm gonna go and play it there. That's the plan. Anyway, let's get some polls going because I know you all enjoy them. Own and starting. Own and benching. Do not own. Sold him. Cool. Livramento, I'd say, is the move. Late decision on Rafinha for you. Just Wolves have looked good. Hwang Hee-chan, although he's been very clinical, I don't expect him. He has scored 3 goals in 4 appearances. Like, it is a good return. He's been heavily involved. So the way he's playing with Jimenez, I really like. The upcoming fixtures are okay. They're not great. They're not dreadful. But his price, I quite like what he's offering. So I do think that's the way I'm going to go. Yeah, poll is up. How much in the bank? So I have 0.7. I have 0.7 in the bank. So in theory, I could go Ailing to a 5 million. But Elias, thank you for subscribing. I could go... I mean, I could go to Cash. I could go to the Villa guys, but Wolves at home, their fixtures are not great. I don't know who else, who I'd really want here. I'm not doubling up on the Arsenal defence, so... Hwang is also a nice differential. So, he scored 2 goals for Brazil. Yeah, it's just a lot of minutes. I don't know whether the medical staff will let him play more than anything. Like, he may be fine mentally to play, but the medical staff may say no and be like, it's too many minutes, it's too much of a risk for injury given their other injury concerns. You love Cash? Yeah. I don't know. At the moment, I'm swaying to... I'm on the forward transfer, but I then have the decision about who I bench if I do that. Do I start Rafinha? Do I start Sarr? Do I start Benrahma? Or do I bench them and play Hwang Hee-chan? Which option do I bench is the problem. Any chance of a Jota start, I'd be surprised, if I'm honest. I'd be surprised if he starts. But we should get team news for the early game tomorrow. So let's wait and see if we get anything. But I don't think you will. Any forward who you consider nailed before you use your transfer? Any forward who you consider nailed before I use my transfer? In terms of what? Nailed that I'd want to own or nailed in terms of starting? There are a lot in nailed in terms of starting, but nailed in terms of owning. There's no forward I think is essential at the moment. You want a wildcard, Chilwell or James and Grealish or Foden? I wouldn't want Chilwell or James. I'd go Azpilicueta and Rudiger if I could. If you wanted double Chelsea, I'd go a single one and double up on Man City first, though. And then Grealish or Foden. Probably Foden. Mount or Saka? Saka. Start Gallagher or an Mbeumo. Mbeumo probably. It's best for me to make a defensive transfer, says Christopher Murphy. If Cancelo doesn't start, I'll have 2 defenders. This is the other concern. Do I just back that Cancelo's going to start? It's a good point. It's a really good point. Is something I need to take into consideration that I only have 3 fit defenders this week. And if it's the same next week, I'm going to get burnt at some point. I'm 0.1 short of Armstrong. Or 0.2 now, actually, because Dennis dropped the other night. 3-4... Sorry. Alonso to Cancelo or Rudiger to Cancelo. I'd go Alonso to Cancelo. Sell Antonio, Hwang and Saka for Tony Armstrong and Mason Mount. Taking advantage. Selling Antonio, selling Hwang and selling Saka. Definitely not. No. Definitely. I wouldn't be doing those transfers. I wouldn't be selling any of those 3 players. I wouldn't be making any of those 3. Thoughts on a back 5 on a wild card? Trent, Aspi, Diaz, Cancelo, Livramento. I mean, in theory, that's fine. You're not going to need to... Don't put yourself in a place, Kevin, where you need to start Livramento every week. If he can rotate with an Mbeumo, not a Sarr, and Benrahma or a Hwang Hee-chan, then go for it. But don't be in a position where you need to start Livramento every week. But I don't mind those. I like those 5 defenders. Sanchez and White or Ramsdale and Duffy. Sanchez and White or Ramsdale and Duffy. Sanchez and White is just much more nailed. My problem with the other 2 is that they could lose their space at some point. So I'd go Sanchez and White probably. Would I start Sarr or Rafinha? Probably Rafinha. I haven't 100% made my mind up on that myself, but I'd probably... At the moment, I'd start Rafinha. I was going for at the back. Diaz, Cancelo, Trent, and James and Chilwell. Can't afford Aspi. I just can't advocate buying Reece James or Chilwell at the moment when there's just going to be rotation between them all at right back, at left back for us, and at Chelsea. It's just too much. If you're on a wild card, it's not what I'd go. It's just not what I'd go with. Um, who in for Rudiger? Keep him if you can. Use your transfers elsewhere. I still think he's a good keep. Don't think Alonso will play with Rudiger out. Yeah, I agree, Andrew. When Rudiger is out, Chilwell more often than not plays because of the defensive ability that Chilwell has to cover that left side. When we've got Rudiger, we can play Alonso. The only other point that you could argue is that Chelsea need the height in their team now. But wildcarding, and you're thinking Diaz and Saka versus Laporte and Foden. Diaz and Saka. Straight away. I would definitely be going with Diaz and Saka. Bamford out for Tony and Shaw Amati out for Diaz. Yeah, two nice transfers. Tony this week probably won't pay back the -4, although it's over a Bamford who's not playing. But Shaw Amati out for Diaz. I'd probably sell Shaw. To be honest, I don't expect a United clean sheet this week at all. James in for Rudiger on a wild card, worth a look. I think James will probably start this week, but he's got rotation and he's got 1-pointers in, and this is the problem. He plays every game. He'll come off the bench if he doesn't start, which is the slight problem. But it's if I was doubling up and you couldn't afford Azpilicueta, I would own Azpilicueta and I would own Rudiger before I owned any of the others, even with Rudiger being out. Azpilicueta is top of the pile. I don't know whether that rang on the screen, but my phone rang. What are the chances of Jota starting this week? I don't think Jota will start this week. Would I do Soufal and Traore out? Yes. Yeah, I would do those. As soon as I read Traore and Soufal out, yeah, I would do them. Let me end that poll. Let me go and end that poll. Hey, would you do? Yes, I would do that. Vardy, differential captain. He's just a differential on his own. He's a differential to own. I wouldn't go captaining against Salah this week. It's not a week to do it. It's just not. I think Salah is on such incredible form. I would just do it. I would just own Salah. I'd captain Salah. Smash the likes, everyone. Yeah, appreciate it. Hit that like button while you're here. Yes, please. Alonso or Chilwell, neither. Like the stream as always. Start Smith Rowe, Rafinha, or Mbuemo. I'd probably start Smith Rowe out of those if you could only start one. So 58% of you own and starting, 23% own and are benching, 13% don't own, and 4% sold him for Rafinha. Interesting. 5 of you sold him. Thoughts on Son for Fernandes and Foden for Sarr? I don't particularly love Foden as a pick, but I like Son in Fernandes. That is a move I definitely do like. Best player to replace Sarr. Depends how much money you've got. Mbuemo, Saka, or Damari Gray would probably be the ones that I look at. Apologies if I've already answered. No worries. But I think Foden starts. I think he starts at least probably 2 of the next 3. So if you're buying him, you kind of got to own him for all of those next 3 games, and then see what happens afterwards. Saka, Benrahma, and St. Maximin out for Grealish. Saka out. Saka out I don't like, but Saka out I don't like. So I wouldn't go doing those transfers this week. But St. Maximin to Tony I would do. Benrahma to Foden I do. It's just you need the money, isn't it? I still wouldn't be selling Saka this week. Rafinha can recover quickly at that age. You'd hope so as a professional athlete, wouldn't you? But there is a bit of doubt about what's going to happen. I haven't decided yet. I'm going to have to decide soon about what I'm going to do. Why aren't more people going for KDB? It's just a lot of money to have that. To have that third premium is very difficult at the moment. It's just difficult to fit that third premium in, and especially when De Bruyne hasn't been explosive in terms of returns. Saka or Benrahma on a wild card? I'd go Saka. You've held St. Maximin and considering a captain with Salah as vice. Crazy on paper. No. John, no. No. Please don't go captaining St. Maximin this week. Please don't do it. He's a differential to own in the first place. You could shoot up the rankings if he scores a brace nonetheless. Don't go captaining against Salah full stop, especially if it's St. Maximin. Please don't go and do that. Who will play as a striker for Man City this week? I wonder if it might be Sterling. I think we might see Sterling play there. Salah or De Bruyne this week? Salah, number one captaincy pick this week for me. Grealish or Foden? Probably Foden. Even when he doesn't play, he's probably more explosive, going to get more points. Semedo, Livramento, Sarr, pick 2 to start. Semedo, Livramento, Sarr, Livramento. I know. Simply FPL. I'm really considering doing it myself. I am really considering doing it myself for sure. I'm not going to do it. He's my actually Ben White is my vice captain at the moment, but Cancelo will be my vice captain. Benrahma or Greenwood out first for Rafinha. Well, Rafinha might not play this week, so don't go selling one of them this week. But I'd sell Greenwood before I sell Benrahma. But I love the double transfer of Benrahma and Greenwood to Rafinha and Mbuemo next week. I think they're a really nice combination of moves. Vardy in for Ronaldo. Yeah, I don't mind it. The thing is, if you're selling him, Lukaku at home to Norwich is the best captaincy option next week, and his ownership will be crazy big. If you are betting against that next week, you are very brave. I know Vardy has next week a decent enough fixtures. Palace. Oh no, thought it was Palace West. Brentford away, yeah, and you're betting against Norwich at home for Chelsea. I wouldn't be doing that. I feel Watford may be harder to beat than people think. And Pool missing players, City clean sheet almost guaranteed. Well, go for it. But when Salah scores his couple of goals, as he always does at the moment, and then City concede a sloppy set piece to Burnley, don't come crying to me. Let me put that on the other side. It's probably rattling the mic. Ain't helping. Is owning Alonso still a good in your team? No, I wouldn't be owning Alonso. Samuel, I wouldn't be owning Alonso. I'd look to sell him if you can. Start Sarr or Livramento. I'd probably start Sarr. Will I ever captain defender? Probably not. Just because their attacking returns are not consistent enough, and if something happens that's completely out of their control, then they lose their clean sheet, and that's that, isn't it? So I probably wouldn't. I can see why it's possible on Trent when you get such good returns a lot of the time, but just that the attacker, scores a couple of goals. Like cheering your player score is so much more. Cheering your player's score is so much more fun than cheering a clean sheet at 90 minutes. Like, we've got to try and make this game fun a little bit at some point. So, start Dennis or Livramento. I'd start Livramento out of the two of them. I think Dennis might play up front, but I wouldn't go backing Dennis to start. It's possible that João Pedro starts for Watford. So, yeah, last time we captained, got 20-second video, posted that, got 150,000 views. Well, maybe I'll just say, yeah, you know what? I'm going to captain Cancelo. Let's do it. And I'll clip that when he scores. Cancelo, most touches in the league by over 100. Hat-trick nailed. Well, it's not quite how it works, but thanks, Sam. Yeah, that'll do. Just touches the ball there and it will be a goal. How about starting Duffy this week if you have him on my bench? I really like... Duffy's got Norwich. I'd play any Brighton defender that you have this week. Wouldn't go benching your Brighton defenders. No. Yeah, clip it. Exactly. Watch it back when Cancelo scores his hat-trick and just upload it. Start Livramento or Rudiger. I'd just start Livramento. Cancelo or Diaz. Cancelo for me. Armstrong and Son and White or Jimenez, Mount, Diaz. Armstrong, Son, White, probably. It depends if you've got another Man City defender. There's a few other things, but yeah, probably Armstrong, Son, White. What's for dinner? Well, what a question that is. I have finished my diet and I am having a pizza for the first time in about 2.5 months. 2 months probably, so yeah. If you change your stream latency before turning it on, the feed is almost live, so no delay. What latency should I have it on? I can't even see my screen. I've got it on normal latency. Should I have it on low? Got it. Well, I will do that in future. Bamford for Huang. Yeah, selling Bamford. I like that transfer. Yeah. Now I'm very in the corner of the camera, aren't I? You do own Cancelo. If you own Cancelo, then I'd go for the other one. Armstrong, Son, White. I quite like that. Cheers. You can't change it midstream. I was just looking about what I've got it set on at the moment. Yeah. Yep. It's there. Cool. Yeah. So transfer -4 here to get Cancelo in for sure. Probably because it's probably going to pay off in the long run. Purple HD. It's not necessarily a transfer that I love this week. You know, I don't like a -4 for a defender, but that could easily give you the -4 back this week, and then you go into next week with an extra transfer, and yeah. No worries. You made any transfer yet? I haven't. I have one that I'm pretty set on. I'd be surprised if I do anything else, but I haven't done it. I don't think none of them are predicted to change in price. Jovan, thank you very much for subscribing. Welcome. Thank you very much. If you have a question, yeah, he's not going to rise. Dennis isn't going to drop. That's fine. That is fine. That's fine. Yeah, let's hope for a few of these, shall we, this week for everyone. There we go. It takes so long, my laptop. I can't do anything while I'm streaming. Start Rafinha and Sarr. Livramento's first sub. Yeah, I would do that. Love the graphics. I appreciate it. There is potential for a name change to be coming to the channel. But we will see. John Grangist, thank you very much for becoming a member of the channel. As I've mentioned earlier, your comments will of course always be answered because you get a little badge by your name now, and you will also get a few emojis that you can use in the chat as well, which are for members only. And I appreciate you choosing to support the channel so much. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, get those emojis going, John. But I appreciate it a lot. As a member, no more ripping my stupid question about St. Max. I promise I will. No, I can't promise that I won't rip your questions about St. Maximin, but I will answer them but I will still tell you if you're being crazy and captaining Sir Maximin. But yeah, basically, like, being a member gets your question read out as much as a super chat does, but it's $1.99 a month for basically unlimited super chats. So I'm just saying, don't, you know, don't need to be super chatting, but a membership every month effectively gives you what that would do, and it's cheaper. So just is what it is, but I'll leave that up to you all. Jimenez or Armstrong or Hwang Hee-chan for the next 2-3 game weeks before switching Tony. Jimenez or Armstrong or Hwang Hee-chan for the next 2-3 game weeks before switching to Tony. If it's for 2 to 3 game weeks, then I'd probably go Armstrong. Their fixtures are pretty nice. Jimenez as well. Armstrong will probably allow you to do a bit more with the money. Transfer out Jimenez and Foden for Son and Hwang. Yeah, I'm going to go transferring out Foden this week. If you're on a wild card, then yeah, I would prefer the later two. Is Walker a good pick? I still think he'll start probably 60% of games, 2 and 3. What advice would I give someone to up-and-coming content creator in FPL? Keep producing like stuff that you like. Try and make it look as good as possible. Not all my stuff does, and I'm just always trying to work on that. Just be engaging with everyone as much as you possibly can. Be nice. Try and make it useful. Try and, do what you find interesting, but also give people what, they're interested in as well. Is it known how long Rudiger will be out for? So we don't know that yet. Unfortunately, we don't. Got literally no indication. I don't think it will be long personally, but Chelsea play midweek in the Champions League, so we should get something then, and then again before the game week deadline. So, shall I make your transfers before price rises tonight? Yeah, if you've got nothing that you're waiting on, then go for it. Start Jota or Semedo. You already have Sarr in goal. I'd probably start Jota if that's the case. Am I going to keep Sarr or switch him to Foden? I don't have the money to go to Foden. I've got 0.7 in the bank, so yeah, I'm going to keep Sarr for the time being. Rudiger's a tricky one. Yeah, it's just, if we knew that he was out for like 3 or 4 weeks, then yeah, I'd sell him straight away. He'd be the first, Rudiger to Diaz would be done this week. So, are you going to keep Sarr or switch for Foden, Rudiger? I think I've answered everything in the chat for this moment. Front three of Lukaku, Vardy and Hwang or wildcard. That's quite expensive, but if you get that with Salah, it's possible to do if your team value is quite high. If you can do that with Salah in the midfield as well, then I do like that as an option. If I had De Bruyne, would I captain him? No, I'd still captain Salah. Owning De Bruyne is such a massive differential on its own, so I probably wouldn't. Any plans taking Greenwood out? Yeah, so next week, I think I'll take him out. I think it'll be my transfer next week of Greenwood to Mbeumo. Yeah. What I may also do is create maybe a Twitter chat or something for members as well. So I can add all the members to the same chat and they, not just on-stream questions, then everything like that. John, would that be something that would interest you? Let me know. I think that's quite a good idea. What about Aubameyang and Lukaku up front? I wouldn't go Aubameyang. I'd go for one of the cheap Arsenal midfielders. For what it's worth, you own McCarthy for this run. Looking for a price rise, then plan to sell at a profit, hopefully. It's a goalkeeper, though. I mean, it's fair enough, but it's just in there. It's in the boat with Sir Maximin up front. Not quite. Yeah, Twitter chat for all 4 of us. It's going to be mental. We're going to be so busy. Is Rafinha 100% not playing this week? No, we don't know that he's not playing. He's going to be in theory available for selection. It's just he played on Friday at about 1 o'clock in the morning in Brazil, and then has had to fly home. So on wildcard, who do I replace Rudiger with? Azpilicueta, full stop. Yep, I'd go Azpilicueta over the others. Is there any way of knowing Rudiger's out for more than 1 week? There's absolutely. If you own him, keep him. If you're on a wild card, go Azpilicueta instead. It's simple as that. Shaw and Alonso, which one should go first? Probably Shaw. Probably Shaw out of the two of them. International breaks are so annoying. I know you get these injuries. It is a nightmare. Look at my team, honestly. Luckily, Rudiger's fit because that really would have caused me a problem. Dennis stinking up my bench. Rafinha, Cancelo gets benched. Will there be a deadline stream tomorrow? So at the moment, I'm not planning on doing one. I'm actually going on holiday tomorrow. So I don't think I'll have time because I need to pack, do a video as well tomorrow morning. So at the moment, I don't think I can. But you may go KDB and Mahrez on free hit. Foden seems too risky. I would, yeah. I mean, you're on a free hit. I don't... Fair. But yeah, if I was owning for this week, I wouldn't own Foden because I wonder if he doesn't play. But if I was on a wild card, you can take that punt. But yeah, if I was on a free hit, Mahrez would be the one, I think, for this week because Jesus is unlikely to play. Cancelo versus Diaz. Cancelo. Just be more exciting for you. You like Livramento if Rafinha and Bamford are out? Well, this is it. A lot of people are asking, do I start Rafinha or do I start Livramento? I'd start Rafinha because then when you've got... If Rafinha doesn't play, then you'd happy to get... you'd happily get Livramento off the bench. Deadline stream on the plane. That would be great. Start vlogging. Keep Ronaldo and Jota for this game week, then transfer them on game week 9 for Lukaku and Foden. Oh, yeah. Sorry, Chris, you did. Sorry, you did. Yeah, you did. Keep Ronaldo and Jota for this game week and then transfer them for game week 9 for Lukaku and Foden. Yeah, that's not bad moves at all. If you want to keep them this week. In the US, when you stand with a player, you're known as a truther. This chat is turning me into a Nelson Max truther. No. Don't put yourself through it. Don't do it. Chilwell or Alonso for this game week. I think Chilwell will start, but that is just my opinion. Just my opinion at the moment. Right. It is 7 o'clock. My pizza will be here any minute now, so I'm going to have to wrap it up. I know I'm on holiday this week, but there will still be videos for you all. Taking my stuff with me again. My transfer plan, Aleph, is to do... Dennis to Huang Hee Chan. That's the plan at the moment. I will, of course, confirm it. Good luck in Game Week 8, everyone. There will be videos and stuff next week. Thank you all for your continued support whilst YouTube continues to be unfavourable. You guys are all still here, so I appreciate it a lot. Good luck in Game Week 8. Any questions or anything, drop them in the comments on the video or drop them over on Twitter. DMs are always open for you guys, particularly those of you who are supporting on YouTube as well. Good luck in Game Week 8, everyone, and I will, of course, see you all very soon.